The summer sun was high over Maplewood, a quiet little town where nothing much ever seemed to happen. Yet in that same town lived a boy everyone talked about. Ethan. He was known not for brilliance or bravery, but for one thing only: laziness. Neighbors would shake their heads when they saw him lying in the hammock in his backyard, a comic book slipping from his hand, his homework forgotten. His teachers said he had potential, but potential was a word they had repeated so often that it had begun to lose its meaning. Ethan's parents worried. If only he would start something, his mother sighed, even something small. But Ethan had a habit: he delayed everything. He delayed his chores, his assignments, his dreams. It was easier to watch the hours drift by than to move. One evening, Ethan's grandfather visited. Unlike the others, the old man didn't scold him. Instead, he gave Ethan a strange challenge. Don't try to change your whole life, Ethan. Just make your bed every morning. That's it. One small thing. Do it for a week. Ethan rolled his eyes. How will making a bed change anything? His grandfather smiled. You'll see. Small habits grow roots. Reluctantly, Ethan agreed. The next morning, half asleep, he clumsily pulled the blanket straight. It wasn't perfect, but it was done. A week passed, and for the first time in his life, Ethan had completed something consistently. Oddly enough, he felt a tiny spark of pride. Soon, that one small act grew into another. After making his bed, he began brushing his teeth without his mother's reminders. Then he started helping his sister carry her school bag to the bus stop. Nobody noticed at first, but Ethan noticed something within himself. He liked the feeling of finishing little things. One afternoon, as he walked home, he saw an elderly neighbor, Mrs. Parker, struggling to carry groceries. Normally, he would have turned away, but something in him nudged forward. He took the bags from her hands and carried them inside. "Thank you, dear," Mrs. Parker said, her eyes warm. "It's the little things that mean the most." That phrase echoed in Ethan's head all evening. The little things. The true test came on a rainy night. Ethan was biking home when he spotted a stray dog shivering near the road. In the past, he would have ignored it, but this new Ethan, shaped by small habits, stopped. He removed his own hoodie, wrapped the dog, and carried it home. His parents were shocked but proud. They fed the dog, dried it, and named him Lucky. Something remarkable happened. Ethan, the lazy boy, now had a responsibility. Feeding Lucky, walking Lucky, caring for Lucky, it all demanded action. And surprisingly, he didn't mind. In fact, he looked forward to it. Lucky became Ethan's best friend. And with Lucky by his side, Ethan began to grow. Months later, during a school event, Ethan was asked to share a story about personal growth. Everyone expected nothing from him. But Ethan stood on the stage, his voice trembling, and spoke about the small habit of making his bed. He spoke about Mrs. Parker, about Lucky, and about how little actions transformed his days. The auditorium grew silent. Even his teachers leaned in. By the time Ethan finished, there were tears in the eyes of many, including his own. That day, the boy once called lazy received a standing ovation. Not because he had become extraordinary overnight, but because he proved something simple and profound. The smallest habits can lead to the biggest changes. Years later, Ethan carried that lesson with him. He wasn't perfect, no one is, but he kept building habits, reading 10 minutes a day, helping one person when he could, choosing kindness over convenience. And whenever someone asked him the secret to his growth, Ethan always smiled and said, "It started with making my bed." The story of Ethan reminds us that greatness doesn't begin with giant leaps. It begins with the smallest of steps. A single habit, repeated daily, can reshape a life. What seems too small to matter often becomes the foundation of transformation.